Hello there and welcome back to yet another Pokemon Unite video here at the Cozy Club, and we have got a good one for you today. We're going to be taking a look and ranking every single Pokemon within the game, and we're going to be doing so with a couple criterias in mind. Now, first and foremost, we're going to be looking at the top 100 players and who they are choosing to use within the battle, but we're also going to take a look at some other factors like overall, how are they Pokemon within ranked games, climbing up on your way to Masters, as well as my own opinion, as I've played hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of games now. I'm going to go ahead and give my opinion on each and every character, playing all of them a good amount and having a very strong feel for how they all play. Now, I know what you're thinking. It is a little bit early to be doing on tier lists on such a fresh patch, and Blissey has come into the game, and with Blissey, so much has changed, both direct nerfs and buffs like we've seen on the website, but also indirect buffs and nerfs that Blissey's mere existence is going to bring into the game, guys, like the great crowd control and better lane presence for a lot of different Pokemon in the game. With all that being said, let's go ahead and cut right to the chase and jump into today's video, guys. But before that, I've got the question of the day for the comment section, guys. What is the one Pokemon from Generation 1, the Red and Blue series, would you pick to be in Pokemon Unite? For myself, it's gotta be Eevee. Made a whole video on this and had a great discussion with Crashy on the Pokemon Unite show. Comment down below and let's begin. Alrighty, my friends, well, let's go ahead and start right off with today's tier list. If you're new here to the Cozy Club, I love making my own graphics, and we're going to do very much the same with today's list. Let's go ahead and begin today's tier list with an absolute banger of a Pokemon that has not changed since the beginning in the launch of the game, and that is going to be Ninetales, ending up in the top of the S tier. My friends, Ninetales is just so consistent in everything that she does, providing amazing lane presence and also a great overall crowd control and damage presence within team fights. You just have insane abilities at your hand with great solid damage that can get north of 100,000, and you've got an ultimate that's good at securing, and overall, I couldn't be more happy to start this list off with Ninetales, as it's the Pokemon I've got the most playtime on. Ninetales just provides everything you need and is just a catch-all amazing Pokemon. Next up is going to be Zerora, and Zerora is still very strong, landing in the A tier as just a very overall solid speedster. Zerora doesn't feel like it does anything wrong and doesn't have any major or obvious weaknesses, with Discharge still being one of the top abilities in the game, an incredibly powerful Unite move, and overall you can put it in the top lane, bottom lane, jungle. Zerora is very solid. Now, it's not in the S tier because it does fall off towards the master rank, and they're just better options at hand, but still, Zerora, solid pick. We have yet another speedster, and it's going to be Gengar. He's going to land in the B tier. Now, guys, I know you've got the 1-2 button combo, and in early ranks, Gengar can be an absolute nightmare. But the problem is, with Blissey's arrival to the game, you've got great ways to clear that poison and CC that Gengar spits out to get the Hex on, and you can do some cheeky things with Gengar, but the higher you climb, the less you see. I can honestly say that I have not seen more than 1 or 2 Gengars in team comps, and again, they're just better options. Now, Gengar can provide some really strong carrying and sometimes just feels straight up broken, and does have decent laning with Shadow Ball if you wanted to go that route. I just think Blissey is going to hurt his overall viability a lot, and he's going to end up in the B tier. Mr. Mime. Whew. Where do I begin with Mr. Mime? Now, first and foremost, if you haven't gone against a very solid one, then you probably don't know why I'm putting him in the B tier, and if you have, then this makes a lot of sense. I see a lot of different people place him in C tier, but Mime just has such an incredible, insane early and mid game, and can still provide some really decent value as a support in team fights. I just love Mime. I think he's a very solid pick in the bottom lane. You can go barrier, although I'm definitely partial to guard swap and confusion, as you can just do so much damage. Now, there are 3 different Pokemon in today's list that I think you really have to main that Pokemon and exclusively practice and practice. Mime is definitely on that list, but in the right hands and even in the jungle, surprisingly, Mime can very much support and carry a team. I don't see Mime moving up or down with a lot of the meta changes that are going to be happening, but overall, very solid Pokemon, and you're kind of this catch-all that can do a whole lot. Already, we've got our next speedster, and we're really just going through a lot of the speedsters first here, but Absol is going to be our next speedster. Now, Absol, unfortunately, is going to be in the C tier, and I know a lot of Absol mains out there with your edgy, amazing blade are heartbroken, and here's the deal, guys. Absol is this amazing assassin-type Pokemon that in early ranked games, and probably even up to about veteran, you can get away with some crazy Absol games with high damage and great flanking. You're probably surprised to see it, but if you're still in that rank, you'll understand as you climb up, the less Absols that you see because of the lack of presence within team fights. It feels a lot like Sombra in Overwatch, or maybe Loki and Smite, in the sense that it's a very solo gameplay that you have as Absol. But this game is all about those team fights and that fight before Zapdos and Dreadnought, and it just doesn't feel like Absol gives that support that she needs to give. So C tier is unfortunately where Absol's going to land. Well, we might as well just get it out of the way and really talk about probably the overall, in my opinion, at the moment, strongest Pokemon, or one of them within the game currently, and it's Greninja. Now, I don't know why. He did receive a nerf, but he also got a buff, and it blows my mind that Water Shuriken does the damage that it does, as well as having Surf for incredible sustain and really assassin ability. Greninja just feels so strong. We're in this jungle meta where both Greninja and Cinderace are just such solid pick options, and man, if you haven't seen the damage numbers that Blissey and Greninja can do together, you'll know why he is placed here for that very reason. Overall, Greninja is just a very solid top-tier damage dealer and just a crazy strong Pokemon that you'll be seeing in a lot more games. Coming at you next in the A tier is a Pokemon that I was debating between B and A, and ultimately, I'm going to end up putting him in the A tier. Machamp is he's a champ, man. He's an absolute unit with the capability to absolutely carry the match depending on who's playing him. Now, as you guys know, I think Machamp is one of the top junglers in the game, with coming online so early with submission and the ability to have such a great presence in lane after that first jungle, after that submission, and you're going to be insane on team fights with one of the best ultimates within the game. If Machamp just starts leveling up like crazy, good luck catching up. Now, he does fall off a little bit in Masters play, and all of the all-arounders are pretty strong at the moment. But Machamp, man, he's an absolutely great Pokemon that you can really climb up rank pretty solid by yourself if you can just play a very strong Machamp. So this next one's a toughie. I love this next Pokemon. I've made an in-depth guide about it that you can find up on the top right-hand corner. Charizard. Now, Charizard is going to end up in the B tier, and let me tell you why. Now, again, I just absolutely hate to put him here, but I think Charizard, he can surprise people. He can definitely carry in the late game and is great at zoning and picking off the best damage dealers, like finding the Greninjas and the Cinderaces, diving on them and taking them out. However, it just feels like there's this massive disconnect, and it just takes a little bit too long still to become online and be ready for that dread, be ready for the match. If you can get it to Charizard fast, you absolutely can win games, but the further you go in rank, the less you see of them, because again, there's just better options. Not a terrible Pokemon by any stretch, and has the capability to do some amazing things, but Charizard is going to be in the B tier. All right, this one's going to be quick, guys. We've got our next S tier Pokemon, and it's going to be Wigglytuff. Y'all, Wigglytuff just does everything right. Has amazing health, pretty strong damage, the sustain's amazing, the CC is just out of control with Sing. I don't know how Wiggly got away without a nerf, and I would be really surprised if it didn't get nerfed the next patch. Now, the thing of it is it going to be Wiggly and Blissey together? Is it just going to be one or the other? Both very strong options as support characters, but Wiggly just feels like that catch-all Pokemon that is just hard to replace. Very solid, and you're going to see it all the time within Master gameplay. If there truly was a I don't know category, this next Pokemon would end up there. Gardevoir is a very tough pick. Gardevoir I'm going to be putting in the C tier, although guys, don't get too mad in the comment section. I feel like Gardevoir, we just haven't figured her out yet. And I also feel like Gardevoir over the months to come is going to slowly rise to being one of the better characters as we continue to figure out the best way to find the way around the map and the best way that the meta games are going to carry on. Gardevoir's late game presence and ultimate in Unite move is one of the strongest in the games by far and can completely dominate, you know, around that 3-minute onward mark. However, again, Ralts, it takes a very long time to get Gardevoir online. You can jungle her. I want to put her in B. I could put her really anywhere, and I feel like it's a shot in the dark. I just feel like we haven't quite figured her out. No one in the top 100 is really using her as well. But again, that ultimate gathering everyone and then nuking it, I think it's going to be super advantageous to run, especially as a 5-stack who can communicate. Next up is Venusaur, who has definitely went from really the bottom of the barrel of Pokemon Unite to a lot better of a pick. Venusaur can snipe and get some really strong, cheeky zap steals, but also, in addition to that, has great poking ability and strong lane presence with a good kid, and, you know, you can make him tanky with the right items. I like Venusaur. He's going to end up in the B tier. I can see him climbing or maybe even falling throughout the meta shifts. However, with Blissey, though, I can see Blissey kind of being around that Bulbasaur, keeping it alive and healthy throughout the match. Now, Venusaur is a lot like Mr. Mime in the fact that if you want to play him, just play him over and over and just dump into the games with Venusaur. Really strong Mon overall. And if you want a one trick, one Pokemon, Venusaur might be that choice. Next in the B tier is going to be the most recently buff Garchomp that was arguably one of the worst Pokemon in the game before this last buff. Garchomp comes online really late. In that first Dreadnought fight, you're pretty much unusable. But with Blissey able to carry Garchomp in the lane a little bit easier, I feel like Garchomp is going to start seeing more play. I think that his late game potential is strong. The buff to Dragon Rush was great. Bulldoze isn't completely useless. The basic attack is nice. I think that Garchomp is in an interesting spot and kind of feels like Charizard now. And again, they're both not the best Pokemon and they were at such a low place, so they might need more buffs, but I like how they did it. I don't want a Pokemon to go from 0 to hero. I'd rather it kind of slowly get there over time. Garchomp's going to end up in the B tier. We have a lot of B tiers on this list, and the next one arriving in it is going to be Crustle. Now, Crustle is really fun. Crustle overall, I just absolutely love him. I feel like he is a true hybrid of a tank and offense character. Kind of like Wiggly is the same split between both a support and a tank. Crustle can do so much. You can get a goal getter on him and carry solo queue by yourself. X-Scissors with the crit build is really strong damage. Rock Tomb got a buff. I don't know. As the one and only Terraform kind of Pokemon in the game, I think that he's the catch-all, and I can probably see a lot more Crustle play out there. Comes online very fast. Strong damage, great lane presence. I love Crustle. Eldegoss has fallen from the S tier and is going to end up in the A tier because of the arrival of Blissey. Now, Eldegoss obviously was known for the only Pokemon with the ability to heal the ones around it, but Blissey just does the job better, and overall, Blissey feels like it's doing more for the team, if that makes sense. Eldegoss is still a great support pick and can really, it's just tough to kill and has great presence. It doesn't hold up. It doesn't hold up to Blissey. And when it comes to games with healers, again, kind of referencing Overwatch, you had Mercy in the game and then you had a bunch of other healers when it came out, and people just played Mercy because if you're doing a healer, you want the best in the business. You don't want a second-tier doctor doing your heart surgery. You want the best in town, and that's going to be Blissey for now. And with that being said, we might as well move on to Blissey, who is going to be in the S tier. Now, guys, I've got a ton of games on Blissey. You can check the top right-hand corner for my most recent guide talking about my favorite builds and how I play Blissey. Blissey is a problem. Now, in 5 stacks, Blissey is just almost broken in how much healing it can do. Egg Bomb is great knockup. You've got crowd control abilities that are going to go off the charts. Great movement speed with helping hands. But overall, if you're duo stacking even, and you pick a strong Greninja or Cinderace, Blissey can just turn that thing into an absolute nuclear bomb. Blissey's awesome. Blissey's awesome and is the healer we've deserved in the game that feels like it's doing its part very well with a well-balanced healing kit and a strong Unite move. I expect Blissey to stay in S tier even amongst the patches unless it gets nerfed. Now, Blissey did knock out some other characters with its overall healing and control, and we'll see that here in a second. Oh, Slowbro. Now, I feel bad for Slowbro, guys. We're going to put him in the B tier here, and that is, I don't know why they nerfed him. Surf did feel a little crazy at times, but I just feel like he wasn't the most necessary nerf out there, and Snorlax is just so high up in the defender role that I feel like the rest of them are playing catch up. So nerfing Slowbro did hurt him. He had this niche of this kind of crowd control defender, if you will. Slowbro can do some good things, but again, if you're comparing it to the other defenders, I'd almost rather Crustle because you're going to want a Snorlax over Slowbro every time. I mean, on the subject of defenders, Snorlax got a nerf and we might as well do them now. Snorlax is going to be in the S tier, guys. The protect, the lane presence early, the incredible heavy slam for the last hit ability. Snorlax is the obvious defender pick. It's leaps and bounds above the other ones. Blastoise can hopefully shake things up. I think that Snorlax is still going to be the must pick. But in the higher rank games, you're actually seeing people not run a tank, and you're seeing them run like some double support and more attack builds. So it's kind of interesting to see where he ends up. Still the best defender in the game by a mile. All right, well, I'm sure I'm going to get some angry people in the comments for this one, but Talonflame is going to be in this C tier, guys. The weakest speedster by a good amount. Talonflame just feels very niche. You know, the fly in Brave Bird is good for stealing objectives. It's okay early and mid game, but it feels like they wanted to make Talonflame this glass cannon, and they made glass. And they definitely made the cannon too, but it's too much glass. Talonflame's too easy to kill. Really, if you dive on someone, you better get the heck out of there very quickly. And it's like Greninja, and Greninja just does it better to do that assassin role each and every time. And Talonflame really, even with the buffs, is going to need some more health if it truly wants to be somewhere even in the B and A tier. Now, I'm sure there's some great Talonflame players out there. You just don't see it. It can't hold up to the others. We have arrived for the last Pokemon in the B tier, and it is Pikachu. Now, Pikachu is consistently underrated. I think Pikachu has a very strong early game, and it's one of the easiest Pokemon in the game to get great damage. As long as Electro Ball is in the game, you have yourself an amazing homing missile of an attack. Pikachu can survive well into late game. It just feels like it's missing something compared to the A and the S tier. As far as overall consistent damage and presence, Pikachu's just very easy to kill. It's that mage build, but Ninetales does it so much better with more consistency. Funny enough, I think if Pikachu kept that Electro Web, it could probably survive with the sheer CC that it provides, but again, Pikachu just, it doesn't have enough in its kit at the time. The Bird of Terror, Cramorant. Now, Cramorant's an interesting one. Cramorant, I'm seeing way more play. If you go check the top 100 players, Cram is getting a lot of gameplay. I feel like Cram is not as good as Ninetales. It doesn't provide a ton of CC, but it's got incredible. And the ultimate is just insane. The attacks are crazy. The early game, fear that Whirlpool, that Hurricane. I want to see Air Slash and Dive get a little bit more love, but Cramorant, I just see Cramorant climbing more and more as we progress this game. It has a little bit of everything, and that ultimate is insane. Next up is one of the premier and one of the best attackers in the game, and it's not going to go anywhere anytime soon. Cinderace is insane, guys. Cinderace, I still think is not the best anymore. I think Greninja actually is going to take that spot, but Cinderace has incredible jungle ability, one of the best to run in there. Insane damage, insane range overall with its DPS. I do think that Cinderace probably outputs the most damage consistently. However, I just feel like it's a notch below Greninja. Cinderace isn't going anywhere unless they adjust some of the things with it. Great scaling, great overall team presence, and you can just carry the team perfectly, which is exactly what you want to do with an attacker. We have now arrived at the last Pokemon, and it's yet another S tier. The S tier is actually pretty packed, guys. I can't move any of them out of there because of what they all provide, but Lucario, I think, is also going to stay in the S tier. He's crazy, man. He's absolutely crazy. I will say that Wigglytuff and Blissey make it harder for him to do his job, but Lucario just does everything. Power-up punch is insane. His shielding is insane. His passive, his attacks. Lucario is just that catch-all that if you're looking for a strong overall Pokemon, I don't even know if I would recommend him because I feel like he's going to get nerfed one way or another, but definitely insane and belongs in the S tier, no question. So this is going to be my list, guys, with the top 100, with my own experience as well, and with climbing ranked within Pokemon Unite. Guys, hopefully you enjoyed this format. You enjoyed the graphic. I'm going to post this on my Discord as well. And hey, let me know, where did I get it right? Where did I get it wrong? Comment down below who you think needs to be higher or lower, as this is just day 2 of the patch and there's surely a lot to change. This is going to be my prediction, though, where I think the meta is going to end up, and I'm really curious with you guys where you think so too. I want to thank you guys so much for coming on over to the Cozy Club. We've got a whole lot more of Pokemon Unite videos coming right at you guys. So with all that, have a wonderful day, and until next time, stay cozy.